Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout for Lottie Loves Paper. I'm using the beautiful Daydream collection by Cocoa Vanilla Studio and I am making a layout with a photograph of my little girl looking beautiful. I've printed it in black and white. Sorry that sometimes the glare of the light that I use means you can't see the photo very well, but it's of my little girl. She's kind of posing outside and I've printed it in black and white and lightened it quite a lot as well. So my idea today is to go for a starburst design, and I'm going to make this up myself, so rather than it be a cut file or anything like that, going old-fashioned with my ruler and my pencil. I really loved this blue paper with all of the flowers on, so it's like a turquoisey blue background with lots of tiny white flowers. They're too tiny to fussy cut, and this paper is a little bit too busy for me to use as a background without any white on it at all. So I am going to just mix it up a little bit and make it usable for me, because I just love this print so much. I really wanted it to shine. And the other side is the floral wreath that everybody loves and lots of people fussy cut out. Wreaths are fine, but just don't appeal to me that much, so I am not drawn to that side of the paper. I know lots of people love it, but for me it's just not really my thing. This side, the beautiful blue with the white ditzy flowers, I just really was drawn to it, so that's what I decided to use. So like I said, I took my ruler and a pencil and I picked a point on the paper, and then I created lots of lines from there. None of them are equal, as in equal pieces. I wasn't worried about that. I just wanted it to be a starburst effect. So I've then cut all the pieces out. I've cut my paper down slightly first because I'm going to stick it onto a white sheet of paper and I wanted it to have a border around the edge, and I'm just tacking all the pieces in place so that I know that when I come to stick them down properly they'll all be in the right place. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking each one, distressing the edges with my scissors, and then I'm going to stick them back in place properly, and then I'm going to add stitching. So I will do that once all of the pieces are in place, stuck down properly and arranged. So as I'm working through the pieces, I realised that my gaps in between my triangles are not big enough, so I cut some of them down slightly more. So rather than just cut in between, I've actually cut off a little bit extra, and then I really distressed the edges, and then I stuck them down, and then I did stitching. So you can't see the stitching on the video. In fact, even when you look at it in person, it's really subtle. You can't see it too well. It's white thread, it's a single strand of cotton, and I've done it on my machine, but it is very subtle. You can't see it that well, but it is there, and it does add a bit of extra texture to the layout, and it does look really pretty up close. Okay, so my background is done. I've worked out roughly where my photo is going and what I'm doing, but I felt that the layout needed a bit more white space, and I didn't want to just stick a piece of 6x4 card down. I wanted to do something a bit more whimsical, so I have drawn some clouds onto a piece of white card and I'm going to fussy cut those out. They will give me a bit of white space underneath my photos, also around my photos, to give some separation between my photo and the busy background. So that's just a great way of getting in some extra white, shaped white. I know it's shaped, but it still acts as white space, so it gives that separation between the photo and the busy background. So that's a good little tip if you're looking at using a busy background and you want to incorporate something white. Cut something out. It doesn't have to be clouds, it could be hearts, or it could be stars, or whatever, but it gives you just that bit of separation. So you can see there instantly it lifts my photo and my layout, and it looks much better. So I'm going to just put those in. I'm happy with what they look like and their placement, but they need a bit more jazzing up. Okay, I am going to add some stitching around the edges of them, but first of all I'm going to stick them onto a darker piece of paper so that I can then add my stitching around the edge. So just kind of arranging things at the moment to make sure I'm happy with how things are looking, and then I will take the plunge and go and do my my stitching and sort my clouds out properly. So I'm just currently going through my papers, my beautiful Cocoa Vanilla Daydream papers, to see if there's anything in there to use as the background for my clouds. I'm also come across this strip of paper with small rainbows on. So one of the papers has loads of rainbows, but this is not from that paper. It's from the cut apart sheet that has a strip of smaller rainbows. So I've fussy cut all of those, and they're going to sit on my clouds. Maybe not quite in the way that I've done them there, but clouds and rainbows go really well together, so that's definitely something I'm going to be doing. I'm just putting out now any other bits and pieces that might work with this layout. Is there any other ephemera that I could use? So I'm going through the ephemera pack, and I've already pulled out my title that is beautiful. That is from the die cut words, and then I keep referring back to the stickers as well, and also the sequins and things. So now I am moving on to my clouds, so I'm ready to commit now. I've pulled out enough things that I can move on with my layout. So I'm now going to sort out my clouds, and then I can get everything stuck down and moving forwards. So you can see that paper there. It's got the really dark blue navy print on one side, and I think it's the rainbows on the back, and I have just stuck my 3 clouds onto the top of that paper and then cut them out roughly. And now I'm adding, no I'm not, I'm piercing holes all around the outside of the white edge with my paper piercing tool and mat, and now I'm going to use embroidery thread to stitch around. So I'm just picking out which embroidery thread is perfect. I was hoping to get something to match the turquoise in the background rather than to go like navy to match the paper around the cloud. I wanted to have that contrast. So I did finally find one in my huge collection of embroidery threads that was the right shade, and I'm just going to keep it as 6 strands and do a running stitch all the way around the edge through the holes that I've just made. So I'm going to do that with all 3 clouds. And I'm not going to make you watch me do them all. There's nothing more boring, I don't think, than watching somebody stitch like this, and it takes so long, doesn't it? But these are only 3 small clouds. They didn't take too long, and here they are all complete. I've cut out the first 2, and now I'm just going to trim around the edge of the other. So what I've ended up with is a white cloud with a turquoise or minty green or minty blue thread stitched border going all the way around, and then another border which is navy blue pattern paper. So now they stand out so much more against that very busy background, and now I'm in a position where I'm happy with how everything's looking. I can commit and I can get things stuck in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and get everything stuck down. The layout's quite complicated really, with the sprays of flowers behind the photo, the small bits of ephemera, the clouds. So really I need to just get it stuck, because otherwise you get to the point where you can't go any further until it's stuck down, but you like how it looks. So I don't know about anyone else, but I put it off. I keep going and going and going, and then I'm like, oh, I haven't stuck anything. I'm gonna have to move it completely to get everything stuck down. Anyway, I did manage to get all that stuck down, and I've skipped forward now, so it's now stuck and ready to continue adding embellishments. So all stuck, my clouds are raised on foam pads, my photos raised on foam pads. I'm now just adding in bits and pieces. So I've stuck my 3 little rainbows down from that border strip, and now just going in with some more bits and pieces from the stickers and from other embellishments. So I have a fabric heart. I love those so much. They just give that extra texture to your layout. I really love how they look, and they're not bulky either. They're soft and padded, so that's a really lovely look. So I've added that. I'm just adding some silver thread behind my photo in clouds. I've got the words the good life underneath the word beautiful, which is my title. I've added some stickers above above. One's got a heart, one says fun. I've added a small little what are they called, tab behind the photo to the left that says so sweet, and I'm adding some hearts. I'm now adding some little word stickers from the sticker sheet. So I've got sweetheart, live your best life, and my sunshine, so they all work really well. And now I'm going to add some sequins, because no layout is complete without beautiful sequins, right? So I'm just going through the Cocoa Vanilla sequin pack, and I've just poured a whole bunch out on my work surface, and I'm just going to go through them and pick out the blue ones, because it's got lots of beautiful colours in, but I really have a blue thing going on this layout, and I wanted to stick with that. Maybe a bit of green as well, or turquoise, but mostly trying to stick with the blues. So I'm just pulling out a few of those. I created myself a little pile, and then I scattered them. So now I'm just gluing them with glossy accents and my paper piercing tool. So just use my tool to move the sequins out of the way, add some glue and stick them back in position. And I've just put a few, so I've got some at the bottom left of the photo and some at the top right of the photo, so I haven't gone crazy, but a few. So now I'm going to add some white splatters to my background, because I just wanted to have a little bit of white over the starburst near to the photo. So I don't want white paint everywhere, I just want a few small bits around the edge of the photo. So I just pulled out my white paint shaker pen thing that I have, and I'm just flicking white acrylic paint onto the layout, centered closely around where my photo is, rather than the edges of the layout. So yeah, that's pretty much done now. I'm just going to put in a couple of lines of journaling underneath my word and label stickers, and then that will be me done. The background is busy. I could have done it on some white strips, but actually if you're reading it up close, it looks fine. And that is me done. So thank you very, very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this layout. I loved making it. I loved having it together. I love the monochrome. So it just looks a bit different to the other Cocoa Vanilla Studio Daydream layouts that are around at the moment, because I focused on that blue and pulled out all the blue pieces. So I hope you enjoyed it. That was Nikki Rowland for Lottie Loves Paper.